huge headline broke out this past week that UNLV starting quarterback Matthew Sloka announcing he would not play in any more games this season. And this headline was posted on ESPN, On3, Sports Business Journal, and just picked up a lot of different perspectives on the matter. So could you just break this down as to why this is a big deal, right? Like announcing you're not going to play the rest of the season. What's the reasoning behind this?
So first, I think some background. The NCAA has a redshirting rule for some sports, including football, that is a 30% rule where you can compete in 30% of your season and still redshirt to keep your eligibility. So the most common reasons to redshirt is either due to injury, not enough playing time, or honestly just not enough preparation and that readiness to get in the game. So you want to save your eligibility. That's what it's usually for. What's interesting about this UNLV case is that he was the starting quarterback, and for an undefeated UNLV team in a season that has this expanded CFP that we've never seen before, meaning that UNLV has a great shot at a potential playoff bid. So this is possibly the first case we've ever seen of this redshirting due to an NIL dispute. So Sluka claims that he was offered $100,000 to transfer from Holy Cross to UNLV, but has only received $3,000 for relocation. UNLV says Sluka not only received the NIL money that was agreed upon, but also said that he felt he should receive more money and felt that he had the leverage to ask for more due to the 3-0 start from his team. So no one really knows what is actually true in this dialogue, but at this point it's kind of just like a he said she said type of thing. But to me, it just confirms the impact of NIL in the college athletics field.
Well, I mean, I think this is a reflection of the NIL space and the exploitation that could take place in this new era, right? And I don't think many people consider this. So let me dive deep in here a little bit. Many people don't consider how easy it is to get screwed over as a student athlete. People forget, like, yes, of course, you see incredible football players right now on national TV acting like superstars, but you forget how young these kids are. Like, it's 18 to 22-year-olds for the most part. Like, you forget that sometimes, yeah, we don't know what a contract is. We don't know the whole taxes thing, which we've talked about prior, right? So when somebody, let's say somebody, a donor, a booster in the collective goes up to you and, yeah, we'll give you 100,000. It's kind of easy to believe that at 18, 19, 20, 21. But where's the contract? Like if you're not getting paid, it's because you didn't sign a contract. If you had signed a contract, I'm sure you'd be fine. But these are the little things where people just forget. You think, oh, he said, she said, like, you need to sign a contract. I think it would be fascinating to see, like, was there ever a contract signed? Was there an agreement? Was it supposed to be end of season, beginning of season, all at once, split upon the months? Like, how was that supposed to work? And I see that in micro deals, like $100, $150, $600 deals, and now we're seeing it at 100,000, which is like, I think it's a huge issue and something we'll be talking about a lot as this era continues to grow. But for now, what do you make of this decision to just redshirt due to an NIL dispute? I think there's plenty of sides to this. There's the NIL side, there's a teammate side, there's a student athlete side, the competitor side. So what do you make of this?
I 100% agree with all those perspectives that you just said. It's a very complex thing. It's one person, but you're a person, a part of a huge team, a program, a university. So it goes a lot deeper than that. Andy Staples from On3 wrote that everyone had an opinion. People were saying Sluka's selfish for quitting on his team. Others said this is just another case of schools not keeping their promises. But most are just baffled by the NIL dispute in itself. For me, I know we kind of have differing views on this, but this to me just confirms pay for play and where we're at in the field of college sports. If anyone else in the world didn't get the money that was agreed upon for their quote unquote job, because it is Sluka's job to win games, you'd be furious. If you didn't get paid for even an hour of work you did in the office, I'd refuse to work. So to me, for people to say Sluka walked out on his team is a little out of proportion. I think, yes, there might be another side to the story. I think there always is. But I think this is a very reasonable claim as well to decide to redshirt and keep that year of eligibility. But I think no matter what actually went down, it reveals just how little control and guidelines there are from a governing standpoint from the NCAA. You kind of just said it. Where are the contracts? And I think right now in the field of NIL, with all the litigations and preliminary injunctions, no one really knows what the rules are. To me, unless you have a great compliance office and those point people to go to,
Hmm.
you are allowed to sign contracts before you go to those NIL contracts from the collectives. You're allowed to sign contracts. But I don't think people know that because it's so wishy washy. Are you allowed to talk to boosters? Are you allowed to sign the contracts? No one really knows because it changes all the time. And I think this will continue to happen in terms of people redshirting and people foregoing their rest of season, whatever that looks like. I think this will continue to happen from bigger players at bigger schools. This was the case for a group of five school, which is also just pretty tough in general because I think the group of five programs just don't have the collective money as powerful as the Power Five programs yet. I think it's coming, but I think the group of five schools right now are pretty vulnerable in those star players and key players maybe redshirting and keeping that eligibility to transfer somewhere else if that NIL money isn't good enough for them.
Yeah, I mean, respectfully, right? Because that is a lot of money, especially for our sports. But if you're QB1 at a big school, 100,000 is essentially like not making it.
Yeah.
So I understand that the UNLV perspective is different. With that being said, I think this does confirm pay for play without a doubt because, yeah, you had agreed for something. There probably wasn't a contract and you now feel like exploited. So I understand that point. Excuse me. I understand that point of view, but I think my issue is on the flip side. Like, what is this doing to sports again? And that's like, listen, I'm not against pay for play. I'm against there not being a set of rules. And if right now the set of rules is amateurism, I'd rather people just stick with it. Like it's not that I'm against the idea of pay for play. I'm against the idea of not having a set of rules that everybody can play under. Because to me, I'm not thinking about QB1 right now. I'm thinking about his teammates that are like, fuck, this guy just left me hanging for the rest of the season when we were 3-0, probably going to have a good playoff run or I don't know, a bowl game. Like you just left me hanging. And I'm thinking like that teammate, I would be furious because I did the same work. I showed up just like you. Yes, you can perform better, but like I was right there with you. I was your brother. I was your teammate. Like we were putting on the same shirt and you're just going to leave me hanging like that. And that's my biggest issue. Like when you don't have a clear set of rules, you allow for things like this to happen. And I think that's just going to literally ruin sports because you have some people that get paid, others that don't. Like, how is that going to work? What does that do to a locker room? That this is something we've talked about plenty. I've talked to multiple guys on different schools, different teams, specifically for football, though, just like bigger numbers. And while they don't openly talk about how much they're making, they can tell because there's 100 guys on a team and then there's 10 that start dressing differently and getting new cars and have this watch and all these things, and it creates some weird sort of tension of like we're doing the same thing. Obviously, yeah, you're producing differently, that's great, we're all happy, but like I'm getting nothing and you're getting all that, and when it's 10 versus 90, I think it's just so dangerous for what it could create. And that's what worries me, that it's like, again, make it pay for play whatever you want, but have it be even. Because I'm just, what comes to mind with this story is just his teammates. Like I wonder how they're feeling right now.
I agree with in terms of the teammates and I can't really imagine if one of my all-arounders on our team left, I don't really know how I'd feel, but at the same time, I fully believe not everyone should be treated the same. Some people are better than others. Some people make more money in terms of you want to come and watch that person play. Like I should not 100% be paid as much as the all-rounders on my team. No shot. Absolutely no shot. Yeah, we do the same work. I am not as good as you. I am 100% not as good as you. I don't think I should get the same amount of money as you. No shot. So I think, sneak peek as to the guest and episode that's going to come next week, but we talked about it, that locker room culture. If this is what divides you, your team was not strong enough to start with. And like, I fully believe that. Like, if my team had that culture of people are flaunting their money, whatever, like, no, that's just not a thing in our team. That will never be, and it never has been. And I think that at the end of the day is kind of what grounds everyone. But I think no matter what you believe in terms of pay for play, we need a solution to the empty promises of NIL. But what is the solution? Is it employee contracts between school and athletes? I don't really know, because right now I would say football and basketball players act as free agents. You're playing year to year and seeing where it takes you, because especially for athletes who are good at their sport but not good enough to go pro, I fully believe you need to maximize everything you can in your time in college. If that means you transfer, and if that means your goal is to get a bag, maybe not a degree at the best institution you can, so be it. That's your right. You have the right to do that. I think it's quite telling how the NCAA is wanting to police deals of these athletes, when I think they need to be policing the people trying to scam these athletes into coming to their program. The contracts of collectives are not universal practices, meaning some collectives run contracts month to month or year-long signings. I think for anyone listening, written contracts are a must. Clearly, from this example, verbal contracts or verbal agreements don't mean anything, no matter how much you trust someone. But also in Sluka's case, we don't know if he had a contract or if it was month to month, year to year. Like, we don't know. If it were a month to month contract, I think he's smart for demanding more money. UNLV has beat Houston and Kansas this year already, two Power Four teams, and his value as a player has gone up. And I think the timing of Sluka redshirting due to an NIL dispute was almost poetic, in the fact that it came 48 hours before NCAA lawyers argued that revenue share and college athletics isn't in a pay for play era with the House settlement.